Hello and welcome to Coffee with Katy, Student Governance Edition. I'm Stacyann, your president of the Fanshawe Student Union for the 2020-2021 academic year. For today's episode, I'm joined by two very special guests, Ayerst and Stacyann Stanley, who are directors in the Student Administrative Council for the current term and have offered to answer all your questions and hopefully motivate you to run in the upcoming 2021 FSU elections. Welcome, Cole and Stacyann.
Thanks for having us today, Katy.
Thank you.
So awesome. So guys, now we've received some questions from our students who want to know more about what your role entails as directors of the Fanshawe Student Union. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Great. So the first question that we received was, what does the board of directors do and what are your responsibilities?
So the board of directors, it's made up of 8 students. That I guess the easiest way to just explain what the board does is that it handles not the day-to-day actions of what the FSU will partake in, but more of the grand scheme, actions that will affect not students that are here currently, but students that will impact students 2, 3, 4, how many years down the road. It plays a major, the board is the major policymakers of the FSU.
That's great to know. Stacyann, would you like to add to that maybe?
To add to what Cole said, in essence, we basically make long-term strategic goals regarding to our FSU, and we also allow students to voice their concerns and opinions in areas concerning FSU and college affairs.
Awesome, that's great to know. Thanks, guys. That was a great answer. So moving on to the next question, how often does the board meet and what are the meetings like?
So the board could meet 10 times in a month if need be. I've never seen that happen, but on average, we have one meeting a month. How it usually works out is for each academic semester during the school year, so fall, winter, there'd be 5 meetings set for each term and 3 meetings set for the summer.
Okay.
Don't worry, guys. The meetings are not impromptu. They're all scheduled, so you know in advance.
Yeah, I'm sure that's very comforting for students to know. Okay, so the next question we received was, what have you liked about being a director and what didn't you like so much?
So for me, being a director, I definitely, I'd say I enjoyed pretty much the whole scheme of it. The grand scheme that since I started to this point right now, that I definitely have been able to interpret, understand things about the FSU and the college that I would not have known or understood if not becoming a director. So definitely being a director, it's enjoyable. You get to meet great people. You get to meet people that you would have never met otherwise. And it just opens your world to a wide range of knowledge and information that you really don't have the opportunity to obtain very easily if you're not involved.
Yes, it's a wonderful experience to be engaged in the Students' Union. It has taught me a lot about Fanshawe. Also, it has taught me to be responsible. And naturally, I'm a very shy person, and FSU has allowed me to develop special soft skill, and I'm very grateful for the experience. What I didn't like much, though, at times I make promises to my class reps, and I don't like the guilt of not being able to deliver because there are times when there's some requests are beyond the scope of the student union.
Yeah, that's very true. You know, we try to help majority of our student membership in the best way that we can, but it's kind of tricky to satisfy like 100% of the students 100% of the times. That's true. Okay. So the next question we got was, what qualities and skills would make for a good director?
So I think Stacyann kind of hit it on the ball with her last question, where definitely the soft skills, as well as the being held accountable, actually taking it upon yourself. But to put that in more layman's kind of coherent speak, that it would be that students come with that positive attitude and they have an actual interest in bettering students and the FSU as a whole, that they want to take it upon themselves, that responsibility to ensure that their student body, the FSU, the student body of Fanshawe College, has that best experience, and they have the resources and the advocacy available to make sure they can not only succeed but excel while they're studying.
Yes, I will agree with Cole. Also, you have to be very structured and have good time management, because there are times when the duty of the FSU is going to also clash with class schedules and exam. You have to be good decision makers, because all the policies that we revise will impact the entire student population, and you have to be willing to serve the population.
Well, then, but would you say that students would be able to equally manage both roles, being involved with the FSU as well as, take care of their academics, which is definitely a priority? Do you think that it's easily manageable?
Yes, I believe it has allowed me to balance my time extremely well, and I've seen where I'm performing way better academically since I've been a part of the FSU.
That's good. That's great. Moving on to the next question, a student asked, what successes and challenges has the board had in the past year?
As for challenges, I think it's pretty obvious. The COVID, the pandemic we currently are facing, it put a struggle on the whole FSU. Definitely you being president, that it's definitely not the common practice, that you haven't really gone really to focus on any incoming policies or changes you might have wanted to make. You had to focus on keeping the FSU whole, keeping it together, and focusing on helping students through this struggling time. So that you're definitely facing an unprecedented practice as a president, as well as the whole FSU. As for directors too, this is my second year on the board, so I had a lot of experience coming in. But I can imagine for the new directors not having that face-to-face interactions with each other, the whole board, just even the training was online, which definitely takes away from it. So that'd definitely be a struggle for the board. But to end on a positive note, I think a big success that the board has accomplished this year is widening the scope of what a member is, allowing students that are online or co-op to be able to be members. And I think that's a huge success, and it benefits the student body and the FSU as a whole.
Awesome. That's very rightly said. And Stacyann, would you like to add to what Cole just said?
Yes, I 100% endorse what Cole had mentioned. And I must also applaud the effort of the FSU to bridge the gap between communication with students and the college, because since we are not on campus, it's hard to reach out to people and to be in constant communication. And I see where FSU has been innovative in developing different programs and different activities for students to participate online.
That's good to know. Guys, you had a great role to play in it. Our board has 8 directors and you guys have done a phenomenal job. So thank you for all that you do.
And thank you for serving us.
Moving on, how can I make an impact as a director?
I think it starts before you even run. Actually finding out what the responsibility of a director is, also what you'll do as a director, and what you're going to be accountable for. Before you even run, I think actually reading the election packet that outlines what a director does, meetings, everything along those lines. And then also taking a peek at past meetings. If you look at board meeting minutes that's available on the FSU webpage, you can see how even just over the last 2 to 3 years, meetings can kind of differ. That what is a priority for that board, or what is a priority for that current year. But you'll see a structure that takes place, and you'll see kind of a mentality that you need to be a director. I think that's a big part, is just preparing yourself And then once you get into the position, making sure you hold yourself accountable, like Stacyann said, with the class reps, as well as attending meetings and reading any information that gets sent to you beforehand. Make sure you're prepared for the meetings at hand.
Yes, I will totally agree with Paul on preparedness. Even when I was running for director, I researched and found previous videos from previous administration, and I observed their patterns. I observed what their strategies were. And basically, what impact you can make is just sharing your idea, sharing what you have that you think how you can influence the general population.
Why did you run for the board of directors, and has the experience been what you expected?
So as I said, this is my second time on the board of directors. I'll talk about this time running. I'd say knowing what I knew last year, when I came into the board, I really didn't have that much information of the FSU. Luckily, I had my secretary. I was the chair last year. Was definitely well informed of the FSU. And I knew this year no one was running for the board that had any past experience with the actual FSU. So I wanted to kind of play that role, just a more informative position where I could kind of be a leaning post for anyone that might have had inquiries or actual just wanted a director's opinion, a student's opinion on the FSU. So that was my main role, was to kind of just be that informative member of the board.
For me, initially, I was inspired by previous directors. I saw them like, I want to be like them. And then I actually volunteered to be a member of the Red Squad. I'm like, this is a wonderful organization to be a part of. And I actually signed up. I doubted myself that I would be a director. And then all my friends encouraged me, you'd be a wonderful person representing the students when you're caring nature. And you're the ones that always say we should do this and we should do that. Why not join an organization that you can make a major impact? And I'm like, yeah, the student union would have been the best place for me to start. And the experience has been beyond my expectations. I was just thinking it's just a group of students that meet casually and didn't discuss serious matter. But then I realized all the decisions that we make impact the current populations and the populations to come. And I love being a part of the FSU. If I were to do this again, I would do it all over again.
Well, that's so nice to hear, Stacyann and Cole. So I was thinking, and this question is again just from me. I was thinking, if you had to choose one adjective to define the role of a director, what would that be? Like, what would be the most important defining characteristic of a director with the FSU?
Patience, I think. In all sense of the word, I think patience would definitely having the patience to listen not only to your fellow board members that maybe you disagree with what they're saying, but also patience to understand that you might want something to be passed today. But definitely if it's good today, you have to have the patience to wait and know that if it's good to be able to pass today, that it'd be good a month, 2 months from now to be able to pass. And the patience to understand what you need to do with your FSU class reps, that you have the patience to sit down with them. Maybe they might not understand something. Maybe there's a language barrier that you have to kind of push through, but make sure you're there to help them in any way possible. And patience that maybe you are stressed out that week you have 3 midterms and you have a board meeting, just to be able to settle yourself down, take a breather, and know that you're going to get through it, and you have the resources there to help you.
Awesome. And for you, Stacyann?
Well, I would simply say willingness. You have to be ready at all time to serve, because there are times people approach me off guard, but you have to be willing to serve at all time, not only during the scope of meetings, but out of meetings all time.
Wow, that's a very deep perspective. Great, guys. Thanks. So the last question that we got from a student was, if I want to know more about the position, where would I look for the information?
So there is the FSU webpage that I mentioned before, which has the meeting minutes, AGM meetings, which is the general meeting of the members. And then there's also the social media of the FSU that has Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everything along those lines. There's a wide array of spots for you to gain information about the director position, as well as what you would do after you actually became a director. So yeah, definitely in these unprecedented times, you can't go face-to-face, actually speak with someone.
Yeah.
Something that I would normally recommend. Go to the FSU front desk, just ask questions, everything. But still, there are a ton of resources for you to gain insight through the FSU's social media.
Yep, I will agree with Cole. And given our current circumstances, feel free to visit our website at www.fsu.ca and select elections.
Amazing that you should mention it. We have our elections page on fsu.ca/elections, which is an all-encompassing website to have all your questions answered about the role of the director, the eligibility criteria, and tons of FAQs. So that's great too. So thank you guys. Those are all the questions that I had. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I hope the viewers have a better understanding of what it takes to be an FSU director now.
Thank you, Katy. Definitely best wishes to all the upcoming directors that are going to be running. High hopes for you guys.
Thank you, Katy, and all the best of upcoming executive board. And just let you know, we are supporting you 100%.
Thanks, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope the viewers now have a better understanding of what it takes to be the FSU director. The election nominations are now open. Please visit our website for more information on how to run for director in the upcoming elections. I hope to see you soon. Until then, take good care.